Is suffering God's will? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the Bible tells us that God is a good creator God. And so the earth that he created was a good earth. And at the end of every day, he would look at his work and say, this is good. God created man and woman. He set them in the Garden of Eden, and God said it was good. Then in the cool of the day, God would come and walk with Adam and Eve. And this was God's perfect will. And then one day, the enemy of God, Satan, came in and deceived Adam and Eve. And they believed him and obeyed him. The dominion that they had been given over the earth, they now gave that to God's enemy. And as a result, fell from their place with God. They were separated from God's will. And sin and death entered the world. In Romans 8, Paul talks about the whole creation groaning. This is the result of the general curse. Natural disasters, sickness, disease, those kinds of things. The second kind of suffering in the world is consequential suffering. It's the result of personal wrongdoing. This is wars, murders. This is the results of drugs on people who take them. Suffering that is caused by humans' choices. But then Jesus went and showed us one more kind of suffering. When Jesus died on the cross, it wasn't because he was guilty. It wasn't because he had done anything wrong personally. He died because of vicarious suffering. He chose to suffer so that others might live. You see, all those other kinds of suffering that were happening, all the sin and death that had entered the world, those were not God's perfect will. Man had been separated from God's will. But now, through Jesus Christ suffering on the cross, God's will was revealed. Redemption. Taking the broken things and making them new again. But through the power of the Holy Spirit, man walked with God on the earth again. And we have the promise that at the end of this life, we will be with our good Creator God. So what are you suffering with right now? Is it general suffering because of the curse, like sickness or disease? Or perhaps even something that you yourself did, that's your own fault? We need to take our suffering that we're currently experiencing. We need to take it to the foot of the cross. We need to surrender it to God. Because in that, he is able to redeem it, to transform it, to bring it into his will. Because remember, that original suffering, the reason why we're suffering, because of sin and death and sickness and all that stuff that's happening, that's not God's will. But through the cross, we have access to the will of God again. Redemption, transformation. Yes, even healing. And on top of that, we have the hope of one day being with him again in glory. So far from suffering being a reason to shake our fist at God, suffering has actually allowed us to see the greatness of God's love for us. Satan comes not but to kill, to steal, and to destroy. But Jesus Christ has come that we might have life and that we might have it more abundantly.